A girl casually gives away a bouquet and accidentally attracts a handsome man. The man is breathtakingly beautiful, yet shy even when kissing, until palace guards find her. That's when the girl realizes the man she's secretly dating is the rumored returning empire tyrant. Not long ago, Lina, a low-level government clerk, was starting her workday. The finance department was silent. Donovan slammed files on the desk, questioning Lina. The tax originals of Albran territory. Why have they all disappeared? The Emperor returns in a week. Less than a week left. Once His Majesty reviews evidence, all departments must submit reports. If finance makes a mistake, he'll lose face before the Emperor. Lina bowed and apologized, promising to reorganize after work, but the supervisor was relentless. He wanted the report by lunch. He turned and left. Connie immediately leaned in, helping Lina vent about their bald boss. Donovan himself told her to remove them. Now he's blaming her, but Lina was used to this. In her previous life, she was also a common clerk, eventually collapsing from overwork. Until recently, she found she'd transmigrated as a side character. Carolina Diaz, hardly mentioned in the original novel. In this life, still a low-level clerk, she quickly accepted this fate. No protagonist halo, no noble conspiracies, just work steadily, and live a happy life. So Lina sighed and went back to her files. Luckily, that day, she didn't have to work overtime. Connie got new tasks from Donovan, so she let Lina leave first. Lina left the palace, enjoying her free time. Passing a flower shop, she saw a bunch of lilies, rare for this season. Adding some color to her tiring days, Lina decided to buy them. They'd look great on the windowsill. Flowers from the north. Only one left. While paying, Lina noticed a cloaked man. One glance revealed a stunning face in her mundane life. He also came for the lilies. Northern flowers are very rare. The man's voice was calm, but his eyes were heavy. Lina didn't know his story, but she could tell he needed them more, so she handed them over. If you don't mind, you can have these. The man paused. He'd seen too much flattery, and too many schemes, never such pure kindness. Everett didn't know how to respond. Finally, he thanked her. Then, on his own, he paid for her entire basket. Lina couldn't refuse in time. She couldn't understand this strange man, way too handsome, yet his voice felt distant. Maybe a soldier, maybe a noble, doesn't matter to her, as she thought. Passing through Gly's Park, she met the man again. Entry closes soon. Lina rushed to warn him. But as she reached out, the man gripped her hand tightly. Seeing Lina's panic, he let go of his vigilance. Feeling the pain in her wrist, Lina was speechless, wanting to be helpful. She pointed him the right way, ready to end the encounter, but Everett saw her swollen wrist. Ignoring her protest, he checked the injury, not wanting to be rude. The swelling on the wrist might hurt for 2 days. He told her to visit a temple. Use the name Everett. A unique name, and hard to forget, but he didn't know. Shortly after in the cemetery, knights had already found him, respectfully calling him Your Majesty. Today is Bryce's Memorial Day. The knight worried about his safety. He simply replied he'd be fine. He asks if something happened. Everett remains silent, recalling those clean glasses. Finally says it's nothing, but from that moment, Lina entered his memories. The decisive emperor on the field was flustered by a clerk. He didn't know how to react. The next morning, Lina sees her fading bruise. Glad she skipped the temple. A $1 ointment suffices. Going to the temple for this would cost half her salary. Holy power heals quickly, but the cost is too high. Lina can't help but complain. That man doesn't know prices, but given his looks, it's forgivable. Just as she thought, the treasury exploded in chaos. Donovan pressures Connie for files. 8 years of taxes in one day, for 7 different territories. Lina and Connie work overtime. Connie is breaking down, complaining about Donovan's weirdness. Maybe the Emperor's return is urgent, or the Duke's influence. That's why he's so rushed. Hearing that name, Lina's heart sank. The Duke of Camelot, leader of the Western nobles, second only to the Emperor. Rumors spread in the palace. Once His Majesty returns, he'll settle with the Duke and remove corrupt nobles, all at once. The original emperor, before meeting the lead, was a strict ruler. He cleared out the royals and devastated many nations. Lina grows more anxious. She just wants to be invisible. But if the fire hits treasury, her peaceful life is over. Then Connie notices, in the Eastern files, Western documents were mixed in. Andrew Noffin should be in charge. But Donovan gave this part to Connie instead. Lina looks through the files. Something feels wrong. The regions changed suddenly. This is no simple mistake, but they have no proof. They just finish the work. Weekend finally arrives. Feeding cats in the park is pure bliss. No Donovan. No purges. Just a perfect weekend. Suddenly, a cat pounces on someone. Lina hurriedly apologizes. Then she sees Everett. She explains it's a stray cat. If his clothes are dirty, she will pay for them. But the man looks coldly, as if he doesn't know her. He turns and leaves. Lina stands frozen. She gets angrier. They've met twice, yet he ignores her on purpose. She tells herself not to care. Just buy things and go home. While buying bread, she sees Everett again. She instinctively hides. Then she thinks she did nothing wrong, so she stands tall and leaves with her bread. The aroma heals her mood. She bumps into him at the cafe. This time, Everett speaks first. Lina has appeared recently, in a way that's too ordinary. Lina rolls her eyes internally. She feels helpless. But on the surface, she acts indifferent and passes him, leaving Everett stunned. A moment later, Everett goes to the secret base. Kyle, disguised as a cafe owner, is busy attending to ladies attracted by his beauty. Seeing the man arrive, Kyle thinks it's the Duke's case, but Everett softly mentions he doubts the coincidences. If every time he leaves the palace, he meets the same woman, it's no longer a coincidence. Kyle immediately asks if she's an assassin or spy. Everett falls silent. He says he can't tell. But holding her wrist, he knew she had no intent to attack. Those hands never held a sword. Her look wasn't a conspiracy. More like someone who knew nothing, yet wandered into a storm. She seemed guarded, but her heart was in chaos. This feeling of losing control made him hide behind a cold face. He asks Kyle to investigate. Is this fate? Or a planned arrangement? Lina knows nothing of this. Just a stressed treasury clerk with an endless pile of files. But today in the office, an unusual silence. Usually, Donovan is the loudest, but now, he's acting cautious. Suddenly, the door is kicked open. The Emperor's inspectors storm into the finance ministry, ordering everyone to stop working. They're here to arrest him for aiding Duke Camelot with bribes and secret vaults. The office falls into chaos. Everyone looks at Donovan. The boss, who usually screams, is now trembling in fear. The inspector confirms his identity. Head of the finance ministry, Donovan Shiroz. The detention order is read aloud. Donovan turns pale. He repeatedly denies everything, but the inspector coldly replies, regarding the misunderstanding, interrogation will reveal the truth. Additionally, the Western head who wrote the report, Andrew Noffin, is also investigated. Lina feels a pang of anxiety, because that report was the work Connie was forced to do. Sure enough, a moment later, Noffin immediately denies it. He claims he didn't write it. The one who actually handled it is Connie, standing right there. Connie is stunned. She never expected to be exposed in front of everyone. The inspector asks for confirmation. Connie looks at the documents in panic. She can only hesitantly admit it. It does look like her work. The inspector's order, all involved personnel to be taken. Connie is dragged out of the ministry. Colleagues begin to whisper. Some suspect her of corruption. Others fear being implicated. However, Lina forces herself to stay calm. She knows rushing out now would only make things worse. Connie taking the Western data was no coincidence. It was a trap set by Donovan. A moment later, inside an ordinary-looking cafe, Kyle is utterly confused. He uses the best coffee beans, yet customers never take a second sip. Just then, Lina enters. This cafe is a front for the Intelligence Guild. Kyle is its leader and a trusted confidant. Lina prefers to avoid original characters. But to save Connie, she must deliver the data directly to someone close to the Emperor. Otherwise, any middleman might be blocked by the nobles. Upon seeing her, Kyle gently asks her purpose. Lina is startled. This is the original Kyle. Gentle eyes, noble aura, the classic tragic male lead, but a normal shop owner wouldn't probe a guest immediately. Lina fears she's been exposed. She bravely claims she just wants a cup of coffee. Kyle is even more shocked. He confirms she's just here for coffee, not to sell something or scam an investment. Lina is baffled by his reaction, but Kyle, as if seeing a savior, enthusiastically seats her. He solemnly serves a hot coffee. Lina feels uneasy. She cautiously takes a sip. The next moment, she almost vomits. The coffee tastes like poison, but Kyle looks expectant. Then, he says disappointedly that it's not to her taste. She doesn't have to force it. It can be left for other guests. Hearing other guests, Lina misunderstands. She thinks it's a guild test, using terrible coffee to test a client's patience. If she gives up now, the deal will fail. For Connie's sake, she lifts the cup and forces herself to finish it. Kyle's eyes light up in shock. He says that since opening, she's the first to finish a cup. As the owner, he's moved to tears. But Lina only thinks he still hasn't mentioned the code. Is the final test yet to come? She takes a deep breath and says the street password. The blue warbler flying to the void has led me here. Kyle's smile finally disappears. He understands now. She's not an ordinary guest, but here for an intel trade. Lina produces the intelligence, key evidence of Camelot's crimes. But after reading it, Kyle says it's not worth much. Because these public evidence from the treasury, inspectors finding it is just a matter of time. But Lina argued, the value of this evidence lies in timing. If delivered before it's destroyed, getting the data to the emperor gives him a legitimate reason to raid the nobles' lands. Since His Majesty plans to purge corrupt nobles, he won't give them time to react. To launch a surprise attack, clear charges are required, and the data she brought fills that exact gap. Kyle suddenly called her full name, Miss Carolina Diaz. Lina felt a chill. She had never introduced herself, yet this man knew exactly who she was. Kyle pressed further. Who told her the Intelligence Guild's location? And who told her that this guild belongs to the Emperor? Was it Count Lunkel? Lina couldn't possibly reveal that she knew from the original story. She had to explain using the code. Street slang mentioned the Blue Eagle. The Blue Eagle symbolizes the Emperor's envoy, though not everyone talks about it. But with a bit of attention, it's easy to guess who's behind it. Kyle still seemed skeptical, so Lina added more. In the Empire now, no one dares use Blue Eagle as a shop name. Everyone is walking on eggshells around the Emperor. They just pretend. Kyle laughed. He was testing her. But Lina's confidence surprised him. He admitted defeat and agreed to the deal. Finally, Lina revealed her true goal. Her friend, Connie, was caught up in this incident, and is now in detention. But those truly responsible, Donovan and Andrew, are still living in luxury. Only Connie is trapped in a cold cell. Not even blankets or clothes can be sent in. This is clearly unfair. Connie is not a criminal. Lina isn't seeking a plea deal. She just wants her friend home safe. If Kyle can't do it, at least introduce her to someone who can prove Connie's innocence. Kyle looked at her, questioning if she really trusted her friend that much. Lina replied, Connie has been her best friend since academy days, so she trusts her. Kyle was silent for a moment. Deal. Same time next week, Lina should return here. Until then, he will ensure Connie's safety. Lina finally breathed a sigh of relief, but before Kyle left, he teased her with a smile. Would you like another coffee? Terrified, Lina immediately stood up to leave, fleeing the cafe in a panic. She thought it was a sinister hint to leave. Little did she know, behind the glass, Kyle was watching her walk away, and behind him stood another man. It was Emperor Everett himself. The Emperor looked toward the door, whispering to Kyle, the girl's appearance today, was it truly just a coincidence?